I am very honored to be here on this great occasion, and I thank Mayor Bowser for pulling us all together. Because I don't know about you, but everybody I know is a nervous wreck. I have never seen a city or a country so anxious, so in a state than are we now. And I think it has so very much more to do with whether we're more invested in one candidate or another. I think we all understand that the very nature of who we are as a country hangs in the balance. And it is very appropriate that we're here in this historic church established in the middle of the Civil War. But I hope we also understand the significance of who we are in this city, in this venue. There is no place more intrinsic, more essential than who we are in the United States of America than Washington, D.C. You cannot tell the story of one without telling the story of the other. We may not be as old as New York and Boston, but we are the product of a new idea when they came up with the notion of a we the people government. The very first thing they did after that ratification of the Constitutional Convention was to get in a room and bring the Capitol here. Now, you know the Capitol was supposed to be in Pennsylvania. And throughout the Revolutionary War, it had been in Philadelphia. But they said after we won the Revolutionary War, which nobody thought we were going to win, we were up against the greatest navy in the world. After that, they said, no, we were going to establish a new capital. And they had actually had the oath of office administered to George Washington in New York. But while they were there, the first Congress said, we're going to bring the capital back to Pennsylvania. Not Philadelphia, but to Pennsylvania. We're talking about presidents, so I want to mention three who would later be president. Three of them decided, no, it would not be in Pennsylvania. We were going to bring the capital to the South. Some people don't think we're in the South, but all you have to do is listen to people like me, and you know you're in the South. George Washington encouraged them, but Thomas Jefferson hosted a dinner in New York with James Madison, cut a deal. You know the musical Hamilton in the room where it happened? We were what happened. They cut a deal with Alexander Hamilton to give him the votes he needed on what he thought was needed to be Secretary of Treasury and to secure the credit worthiness of our country. In exchange, he would marshal the votes to bring the capital not to Pennsylvania, but to the Chesapeake region, because we had 1/2 of all enslaved people in the world, in America, I should say, not the world. And so that's how we got to be the capital. But even though it was an expression of the contradictions of our country, the point I want to make is once they established it here, when they created the artistry of this place, when they created the architecture of this place, when they organized this place, it was an expression, an affirmation of this most extraordinary, unique system of a we the people government. Nobody had ever heard of it, had never existed before. The first time it happened was here in the United States of America. Before, it always was a monarch or a king, but here it was going to be we the people. Everybody went around saying, what does that mean? Are we the people? A woman cornered Benjamin Franklin when he left the Constitutional Convention, and she said, Dr. Franklin, what does that mean? Does it mean we're a republic? Does it mean we have representation, a representative democracy? He said, you're right, you do, if you can keep it. If you can keep it. And that is what we know is on the line right now. And I just want to point out that you go to any other place or any other capital, the focal point will be the palace or the mansion of where the great autocrat resides. What is the focal point of our nation's capital? It's that little place up on Jenkins Hill. It is the people's meeting place. They call it now Capitol Hill. If you want to know where Northeast or Southeast is, Northwest or Southwest is, you got to go to the Capitol. It is the defining point of our city and of our nation. So I know that we're nervous about just where it's going to go. That's why I'm glad we came here to embrace faith, because that's what we need. But because even though I was born in D.C. like the mayor, and when I was born in D.C., it was really a trip. Anybody had any vote. I was born in a place still called Freedmen's. They were still dealing with Reconstruction. But in spite of the frustrations I have about it and not having statehood, I still have faith in the fact that God blessed America. I believe it. And I know that there were times when we thought when we got to 2024, we were going to have a rematch of 2020. With a good man, I might add, with a good man. But the Lord works in mysterious ways. And just when we hadn't expected it, there she was. Just when we thought, boy, oh boy, here we go again, there she was. And I believe the good Lord sent us our Esther. Because she's not afraid. She's got gumption. She's got character. She is willing to do what has to be done, just like our mayor with her yellow paint. She is willing to step inside that inner court and take on someone who thinks he should be king. And she'll let him know, if I perish, I perish. But because God blessed America, we will prevail.